In a packed lecture hall at a busy American university, the air was thick with the usual mix of coffee, textbooks, and quiet ambition. Students shifted in their seats, some scrolling on phones, others half listening as the professor paced in front of the whiteboard. Then he stopped. His eyes landed on a quiet man sitting near the back, a black single dad named Marcus, still wearing the faded work shirt from his overnight shift at the warehouse. The professor's smile was thin. "Marcus," he said, loud enough for every ear to catch it, "why don't you come up and solve this equation for us? It might give the class a little entertainment." Laughter rippled through the room. Marcus stood slowly, the weight of every doubtful glance settling on his shoulders. What no one expected was that in 3 short minutes the laughter would die completely. If this story already touches something inside you, take a second to subscribe to Whispers of Heart 0.2, hit that like button, and leave a comment about a time someone believed in you when the world didn't. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts that need them. Marcus had never planned to be in that classroom. 3 years earlier his wife had passed after a short illness, leaving him alone with 2 little girls, ages 4 and 6. The nights were long. He worked double shifts loading trucks so the girls could stay in the same school and keep their friends. Math had always come easy to him. Back in high school he could finish problems while others were still reading the question, but life had pushed textbooks aside for overtime and bedtime stories. Still, he wanted more for his daughters. He wanted them to see that a man could start over, no matter how tired he was. So he enrolled in night classes, carrying his worn notebook and a quiet determination that most people never noticed. The professor, Dr. Harlan, was known for sharp jokes and even sharper judgments. He liked to single out students who looked out of place. Marcus fit the description perfectly in his eyes, an older black man with calloused hands and no fancy laptop. That morning the equation on the board was advanced linear algebra, the kind that usually took undergrads half an hour of careful work. Dr. Harlan wrote it with a flourish and stepped back, arms crossed, waiting for the expected struggle. The class leaned forward. Some already had phones ready to record the failure. Marcus walked to the board. He picked up the marker. For a second the room felt colder. Then he began. His hand moved steady, line after line, factoring, substituting, simplifying. He didn't rush, but he didn't hesitate either. 3 minutes later he set the marker down, turned, and quietly said, "That's the solution." Silence. Then a soft gasp from the front row. A few students checked their notes. The answer was correct. Completely correct. Dr. Harlan's face shifted from amusement to confusion to something harder to name. He cleared his throat. "Well, that was unexpected." The class erupted in applause, genuine this time. Marcus simply nodded and returned to his seat. He didn't gloat. He didn't even smile much. He just opened his notebook again as if nothing extraordinary had happened. But something had. After class a young woman named Emily, who sat 2 rows ahead, waited for him in the hallway. She was the daughter of a single mother herself and had watched the whole thing with her heart in her throat. "I saw what he tried to do," she said softly. "That was cruel. But the way you handled it, that was kindness. You could have embarrassed him right back. You didn't." Marcus shrugged. "My girls are watching how I move through this world. If I answer meanness with more meanness, what am I teaching them?" Emily offered to study with him once a week. She brought coffee. He brought leftover dinner he had cooked for the girls. They talked about more than equations. She learned that Marcus still read bedtime stories every night even when his eyes burned from exhaustion. He learned that Emily's mother had worked 2 jobs too and that kindness from strangers had once kept their electricity on. Word spread. Other students started treating Marcus differently, not with pity, but with respect. One classmate, a quiet engineering major named Jamal, admitted he had almost dropped the course because the professor's attitude made him feel small. Watching Marcus solve that problem in 3 minutes gave him courage to stay. If he can walk in here after a night shift and still own that board, Jamal said, I can keep showing up too. The real change came weeks later. Dr. Harlan asked Marcus to stay after class. The professor's voice was quieter than usual. I owe you an apology. I used you for a cheap laugh. That equation. I never expected anyone to finish it that fast. Least of all, he trailed off, ashamed of the assumption he almost spoke. Marcus looked at him for a long moment. Then he said, my father used to tell me that people who mock others are usually carrying something heavy themselves. You don't have to carry it alone. That simple sentence cracked something open. Over the next months, Dr. Harlan began staying after lectures to help students who struggled. He stopped the cutting remarks. One afternoon he brought in extra office hours specifically for working parents and night shift students. When asked why, he simply said, someone showed me what real strength looks like. It wasn't loud. It was kind. Marcus never asked for recognition. He kept coming to class after long shifts, kept packing lunches for his girls, kept solving problems on the board when called. But the kindness he offered, refusing to return cruelty, choosing patience, offering understanding, began to ripple outward. Emily organized a small study group for single parents on campus. Jamal started a peer tutoring circle. Even Dr. Harlan, once known for his sharp tongue, became the professor students sought out when life felt overwhelming. Years later, Marcus walked across the stage to receive his degree. His 2 daughters, now older, sat in the front row cheering louder than anyone. After the ceremony, a young professor, Emily herself, now teaching, pulled him aside. You changed more lives than you'll ever know, she said. Not because you solved that equation in 3 minutes. Because you answered mockery with dignity. Because you chose kindness when it would have been easier to choose pride. Marcus hugged his girls and thought about the long nights, the empty fridge some weeks, the quiet fear that he wasn't enough. He realized the equation on that board had never been the real test. The real test was how he treated the people who underestimated him. And the answer, it turned out, was the same one he had lived every day for his daughters: keep showing up, keep being gentle, keep believing that one act of kindness can rewrite a whole story. So the next time someone tries to make you the punchline, remember Marcus standing at that whiteboard. You don't have to prove them wrong with anger. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is solve the problem quietly, then offer the same kindness you wish the world had offered you. Because kindness doesn't just change the moment. It changes the people watching. And those people go on to change the next moment, and the next. That is how ordinary hearts begin to heal the world, one quiet, steady act at a time.